Hey Stacy, to answer your question, yes, it's all manual. Um, the drawing that you have is several pieces, and you have to figure out where to artistically bridge those and what you're going to do with it. So, show you a couple of tricks I have. The first, very first thing you need to do is adjust it to the size that you want to cut it at, so that when you do your bridges, they're the right size. So a lot of times I'll draw a rectangle starting at 0, 0 in the corner, and say I wanted to cut that about 16 wide and 24 tall. Then you could just adjust that up. That's pretty good proportion. So that would be to size, and then you just have to figure out how best to tie it together. So there's already the back of the horse's head coming in. I think for that I would probably just break those and use the extend tool to look and see. Okay, well, that came off at an angle. Let me try first smoothing it at 0.002. Again, that needs to be at size. Let's see if that converted that to an arc. Yep, it did. So it's always a good idea to use the smooth tool early on, and if you have any problems in the process. So that's only, looking at my 1 by 1 grid, if I draw an 1/8 inch circle, that's only an 1/8 inch wide. So that's not going to hold together very good. What I'm probably going to do here is break this back here and then offset this arc so that that's 1/4 of an inch where it comes in. And I'll extend that. I'll trim all that stuff out. Join it back up. So that bridges that in. And since it was in that curve that was already going, it kind of flowed on in. So down here, this is curving to the right, this is curving to the left. I'd probably do a Z bulge and just kind of click in the middle of these and try to kind of get that turned so it comes together. We'll offset 0.125, hold control the first time, not the second time, and that does it centered on our mark. Trim that out. So that looks okay. I'm not in love with it, but maybe if we do a Z from an H path, and an H up here, and we kind of tie that together a little thicker. Anytime you do an H path snap, you run the risk of having doubles. I like that better, and it's a little thicker to kind of help hold it together. We're going to have to do something in here to keep this piece from being floppy. If I connect those node to node like that, then I can come down here and H snap it. And trim that out. It's not so bad. Thicken that up just a little. This one, I think I just need to K break those and just X extend those on up. That'll look good. This little ear's kind of floating. This little wisp, it really doesn't need that notch. So I think to thicken all that up, I'm going to Z that all the way down and try to kind of, I guess that's not quite the right arc. That's a piece of hair. Oh, look, I paid my bill. Let's see. That's pretty good though. If I wanted to, I could rotate it now that I have a line. That end point, I kind of tilt that horse's head over just a little bit. I think it's better not moved. Maybe some of that is what that looks like, and that's throwing me. So let's go from this to H here. Let's trim that out and see what happens. That's pretty good. We could probably stand to thicken this up down here a little bit, just to keep the thing from falling apart. So I'm going to offset that an eighth. I like that. H and E. Gets that line back up. Down here I got a little hickey on the end. I'll break that off. And I'm just going to use the X tool again to extend those till they come together. It gives us a horse. We can break these off. Let's see, to get that on down, and then let's see. I kind of like that having a point on it. Q.045 shows me the size of the torch. I'm happy with that. It's got plenty of room. This is going to be, it's only going to go down to about there, so f.045/2, that's really what that's going to look like, so that's okay. Oh, under the nose, that cuts back for the mouth. I'm saying a little cheat for that is I'll scale it up just a little bit. That'll give me an overlap that I can join up. And then up here, I think probably, no, it's got that. That runs out and hits that piece. I'm not knowing that I want that to happen. Let me back this piece back in. So if I break this out of my way, and I get this tied in, let's say around, just extend that on. Yeah, I like that. And I can probably change the slope of that a little bit and keep his head in there good. It's a little harsh there, but I can lighten that up just a little bit, probably. Fill up that 0.25. So I smooth it. And lighten it up a little. Let me do it myself. Better. Let's see. 0.045. Curve for the torch has room. That's not very wide, but I kind of like having that look incomplete since the horse is looking that way. So I'm going to leave that alone. Here, see where that goes. That is paper thin. Let's see if I view. Yes, that's 40 thousandths. probably probably the way to do that is to come back here where it's thicker, and I'll just rotate from the end point and let that come on a little wider. Then this is going to have to kind of come back into it. Trim that out. Like that. Now this little nose, let's see, 045. I'm fitting up in there to get there. That's pretty much wide enough. Now the question on this little nostril is, do I try to bridge it and make it look like an intentional bridge, or do we just put it together? I think we just put it together maybe and have a line. So I'm going to move this towards the nose a little and move this to kind of have a compromise in the look. I don't like it. That just really needs to be separate there. So, fine. I'll break it at the node point and then back out of the way and delete that piece. I'll extend that and come on around the circle. So, I'll Z from the EN point. I'll do that myself. Kind of copy that arc manually about 1/4 of an inch. And I'm thinking that'll hold it, and I think that'll look okay when he's cut. I might even put a blaze up the horse's face just because I don't have any other way tie that together without it looking a little funky. I like it, but I don't. Guess you know what I could do? Kind of give a little texture with the horse's nose there. Do these arcs kind of different. From being a straight looking bridge, maybe it'll look like it's part of the nose. Yeah, I think for a sign that'll work. I think that leaves enough in there, not in a straight line. You may want to play with that one if you don't like that. I mixed reviews. Let's see. This over here, I think we'll get down on this before it starts the curve, so I can kind of straighten into it. Copy somewhere in there like that. That part. Now in here, 045, that torch is not going to fit through there. So I think we kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get this, just move this horse's eyeball down a little where we can trim it and make that all one piece. Then I think we come in, trim those out, extend those, and then that puts it all in one piece, and I think we do the same thing for this brown. How we do that, and then we got a piece that goes around the perimeter. We got a funky looking deal there we can take out. think that'll cut. Thicken that a little. And I always like to turn off my overcutting and do a tool path so I can look and make sure it's not going to go all the way down in those pieces, and that's fine. When I do print previews on these, I will fillet those sharp corners out, especially the ones that are more pronounced, because if I send that to you or a customer for a metal piece, or you for a file, that's going to look like it is going to be a sharp corner, and it's not. So you can do a fillet F point and then your curve, which I set at 0.045 or 45 thousandths, and then you have to divide that in two because it asks for the piece. So that's what I got. I'll send it over your way.